Breaking free. How to stop seeking approval and take control of your life. Have you ever felt like your happiness depends on someone else's approval? Like a single ignored message, an unreturned call, or a lack of validation can ruin your entire day. Let me tell you something. That feeling? That's not freedom. That's a prison. And the worst part, you're the one holding the keys. The truth is, needing constant approval is like trying to quench your thirst with salt water. The more you seek it, the more powerless you become. But imagine a life where your confidence, peace, and self-worth are unshakable. Where no one, not rejection, not criticism, not indifference, can shake your inner stability. That's the life the Stoics mastered, and today I'm going to show you how to do the same. In this guide, we're breaking down 11 life-changing Stoic principles that will free you from the chains of approval-seeking, emotional dependency, and self-doubt. These lessons have stood the test of time. Centuries later, they remain just as powerful. By the end, you'll walk away with a mindset so unshakable that nothing, not what people say, not what they don't say, will have the power to control you. If you find value in what we're discussing here, a simple free way to support us is to hit that subscribe button, and don't skip any part of the video. Each piece of information could be the key to unlocking deeper insights into human nature and your personal peace of mind today. Let's get started. 1. Stop waiting. Be the hero of your own story. Have you ever felt like you're waiting for something to change? Like sitting in a car with a full tank of gas, the keys in the ignition, but refusing to turn it on because you're convinced someone else should drive? Let's be clear. No one is coming to save you. And before you think, of course, because no one cares about me, that's not the reason. It's because this responsibility is yours and yours alone. You have the keys. The engine works. The road is right in front of you. So why aren't you driving? We often fall into the trap of believing that happiness, success, or peace of mind will come from outside of us, that it will arrive when the right person shows up, when someone finally acknowledges our worth, or when life magically falls into place. But that's an illusion. If you keep waiting, life will keep passing you by. Think about J.K. Rowling. She didn't sit around waiting for a publishing deal to fall into her lap. She wrote Harry Potter while struggling as a single mother, facing rejection after rejection. But she didn't stop. She didn't wait. She kept going and changed her life forever. You might be thinking, that's great for her, but my situation is different. I've been there. I once thought my happiness depended on whether others supported me, called me, or showed up when I was struggling. But the more I waited, the more powerless I felt. It wasn't until I understood what the Stoic philosopher Epictetus taught, that it's not what happens to you, but how you think about it, that everything changed. The moment you stop waiting to be rescued, you become your own saviour. How to break free. Take radical responsibility. No more waiting, no more blaming. Ask yourself, what can I do today to change this situation? Even small steps matter. Affirm your worth. Every day, remind yourself, I am capable, I am enough. My happiness is in my hands. Act now. Stop thinking about what could be and start doing what you can. The hero you've been waiting for. It's always been you. 2. Take control of your emotions, or they will control you. Have you ever felt like a shaken soda can, ready to explode at the slightest nudge? The pressure builds, emotions bubble up, and suddenly you're one wrong comment away from snapping. Here's the thing. If you don't learn to control that emotional pressure, it will control you. And when your emotions dictate your reactions, you're not just losing control over yourself, you're handing it over to whoever or whatever triggered you. Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic emperor, said, "The soul becomes dyed with the colour of its thoughts." If your mind is constantly swirling with frustration, anger, and stress, your life will reflect that chaos. But if you shift your focus to what you can control, your mind, your reactions, you reclaim your power. How to stay in control. Practice the pause. Before reacting, take a deep breath. Even a few seconds can stop emotions from hijacking your response. Shift your perspective. Ask yourself, will this matter in a week? Most of the time, the answer is no. Release tension, walk, listen to music, write. Find healthy ways to let go instead of storing stress like an overloaded circuit. You don't need someone else to calm you down. You don't need life to be perfect to be at peace. You just need to steer your own course. 3. Learn to be alone and love it. Now, being alone should be simple, right? Just you, your thoughts, and a quiet moment. Then why does it feel so uncomfortable? Because we treat solitude like an enemy, something to escape. We reach for our phones, turn on the TV, or scroll mindlessly. Anything to avoid sitting with ourselves. But here's the truth. Solitude isn't a punishment. It's a superpower. Seneca put it best. The wise man is sufficient unto himself. If you can't find peace within yourself, nothing outside of you will ever truly satisfy you. How to master solitude. Spend a day alone. No social media, no distractions, just you. Go for a walk, sit in a cafe, write. Listen to your thoughts. Don't run from them. Observe them. Learn what they're telling you. Embrace the silence. Once you get past the discomfort, you'll realize you don't need anything external to feel complete. When you become comfortable with yourself, everything else becomes a bonus, not a necessity. 4th, let go of what weighs you down. Imagine carrying a backpack full of bricks everywhere you go. You feel exhausted, drained, but the weight isn't just on your shoulders, it's in your mind. You say yes when you want to say no. You hold on to relationships that drain you. You let fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of change dictate your choices. But here's the thing, no one else put that weight on you. You did. Letting go isn't easy. But what if you saw it differently? Think about how good it feels to clean out a cluttered closet, to get rid of old junk, to make space for something better. Now imagine doing the same thing with your mind. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." How to let go. Control what you can, release what you can't. You control your actions, your priorities, your mindset, not other people's opinions or past mistakes. Evaluate your relationships. If someone constantly drains you, ask yourself, why am I holding on? Cut out what's holding you back. If it's not helping you grow, it's keeping you stuck. Let it go. Letting go isn't losing, it's winning. You don't need approval. You don't need validation. You just need to take back control. And the best part, you've had the power all along. Take back your power. How to stop seeking approval and reclaim your time, energy, and confidence. Have you ever felt like your life isn't fully your own? Like you're constantly chasing validation, bending over backward to please others, or spending your time on things that drain you instead of fulfill you? It's exhausting, isn't it? The truth is, many of us live as if our happiness, confidence, and sense of worth depend on the approval of others. A single ignored message, an unreturned call, or a lack of validation can ruin our entire day. But here's the thing, that's not freedom, that's a prison. And the worst part, you're the one holding the keys. Seeking approval is like trying to quench your thirst with salt water. The more you chase it, the thirstier you become. But imagine what it would be like to live life on your terms, where no one, not rejection, not criticism, not silence, has the power to shake your self-worth. That's the mindset the Stoics mastered, and today you're going to learn how to do the same. We're breaking down 6 life-changing Stoic principles that will help you break free from the need for approval, reclaim your time and energy, and finally start living for yourself. By the end of this, you'll walk away with a mindset so unshakable that rejection, criticism, and external opinions will no longer hold power over you. Let's dive in. 1. Win back your time, energy, and sense of self. Imagine carrying a heavy backpack filled with bricks everywhere you go. Each brick represents an obligation you didn't want to take on, a person's opinion that lingers in your mind, or an expectation you feel pressured to meet. The weight slows you down, drains you, and keeps you from moving forward freely. Now ask yourself, why are you carrying this weight? Too often, we give away our time and energy without even realizing it. We say yes when we want to say no. We stay in situations that exhaust us out of guilt. We hesitate to set boundaries because we fear how others might react. But here's the truth. You don't owe your time and energy to anyone who doesn't value it. Winning back your time starts with recognizing what's draining you. Pay attention to the people, commitments, and habits that leave you feeling depleted instead of fulfilled. Then, start letting go of what no longer serves you. You don't need to explain yourself. You don't need permission to prioritize your well-being. Releasing what weighs you down isn't losing, it's winning. 2. Lose the fear of rejection. Let me tell you a story. At a circus, trainers tied a young elephant to a small stake in the ground. No matter how hard it pulled, it couldn't break free. Over time, the elephant stopped trying. It grew stronger, big enough to uproot a tree, yet it remained tied to that tiny stake. Not because it couldn't escape, but because it believed it couldn't. That's exactly how the fear of rejection works. It's not the rejection itself that holds us back. It's the story we tell ourselves about what it means. We hesitate to speak up in meetings, afraid of sounding foolish. We avoid sharing our true opinions to keep the peace. We overthink texts, worried we might say too much or not enough. We let our fear of rejection dictate how we show up in the world, and in doing so, we shrink ourselves. But here's the irony. No matter what you do, rejection is unavoidable. Even the greatest minds in history had critics. Imagine if Marcus Aurelius had spent his time refreshing his notifications, wondering if people liked his latest Stoic reflection. Sounds ridiculous, right? That's because it is. He understood that what others think is outside our control. True freedom comes from focusing on what is within our control, our actions, our mindset, and our ability to embrace life as it comes. Psychologists have found that the fear of rejection leads to exhausting behaviors, constantly seeking validation, needing reassurance, avoiding confrontation just to fit in. The more we rely on others' approval, the emptier we feel. I once knew someone named Alex. He planned nights out, not because he wanted to, but because he feared missing out. He agonized over every conversation, worried about how people perceived him. But when he finally started challenging his fear, by making small decisions without overthinking, by saying no without guilt, he realized something profound. Rejection wasn't the monster he imagined. It didn't break him. In fact, it freed him. How to overcome the fear of rejection. Start small. Do something outside your comfort zone. Ask for a free upgrade. Start a conversation with a stranger. Say no without over-explaining. Face rejection head on. Every time you get rejected and realize it doesn't define you, its power fades. Redefine rejection. Instead of seeing it as failure, view it as proof that you're growing. When you stop fearing rejection, you stop needing approval. You start living authentically. And that kind of freedom, that's priceless. 3. Learn to say no without guilt. Your time is one of the most valuable things you own. Imagine it as an exclusive event with a VIP guest list. But how often do you let just anyone in without even checking if they deserve a spot? Every time you say yes to something you don't want to do, you're saying no to yourself. Seneca put it best. Nothing is more valuable than your time because it's the one thing you can never get back. But if that's true, why is saying no so hard? Because we're afraid of disappointing people, afraid of being seen as selfish, afraid of what others might think. I learned this the hard way when a co-worker asked me to take over a project I had no time for. I didn't want to do it, but I said yes anyway. Why? Because I thought, if I say no, he'll think I'm unreliable. He might not like me, so I took it on. I stayed late, lost sleep, sacrificed my own priorities. And when the deadline came, he barely acknowledged the effort. No praise, no gratitude, just another expectation met. The worst part, I wasn't even mad at him. I was mad at myself because I had betrayed my own needs out of fear of disappointing someone else. That's when I realized if I don't protect my time, no one else will.